Hi, welcome to the Three Times podcast. Today I'm talking to Dean Parker, a guitarist, singer, songwriter and producer who's made a name for himself on the local circuit. We talk about Dean's take on songwriting and how his career progressed from his first gig in a pub in the Tyndale village of Fourstones to becoming a session musician in the highly competitive London music scene. This is followed by a bonus episode in which we talk about Dean's trip to the United States to play in Austin, Texas, and in Nashville, and his innovative plans for a new album in 2024. Hi Dean.
Good morning.
Thank you for agreeing to be interviewed for the podcast.
Thank you for asking.
So would you like to define yourself as a musician? What would you say you do?
I think first and foremost I see myself as a guitar player because that's what I've always gravitated towards. It's been my hobby, it's my job, it's my safety blanket, it's I think that is me. But I guess now I'm seen more as a singer, a songwriter and a producer, really. And people are sort of surprised by the guitar because they haven't seen that first. But for me, I think guitar will always be the thing that I identify with.
And what made you pick up the guitar in the first place? Did you have a family that was very interested in music?
Everybody in the family loves music. Not many people play, and the reason I started was that I tried everything else. Essentially, tried every martial art that you do as a child, every hobby under the sun, and then got round to guitar. And I was told by my parents that if I didn't stick with this for at least 6 weeks, I'd be paying for the guitar myself, and that has slightly backfired. I think the guitars I'm after now are a little bit more than 50 quid.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
And what was your first guitar? Was it the nylon strung acoustic with about a centimetre of action? Was it that kind of thing?
It wasn't. I got lucky, to be honest.
Right.
So there was this little Yamaha, I guess travel size guitar, a 3/4 acoustic from, I can't actually remember the name of the shop now, which is mad, but it was on Dean Street in Newcastle, which was fitting. But yeah, this little steel string Yamaha, which I started on, and then went on to do like classical grades on, much to the dislike of my classical guitar tutor. But I guess started merging those worlds early.
Uh-huh. So you took music lessons at school?
I did, yeah. So had a couple of guitar lessons in school, and then ended up with a private tutor and sticking with him a bit more. And it was great because he was not into or aware of any of the music that I liked. Fully classical. I don't even think he plays guitar. But it was a church organist, and still is. He's still around. But into classical music, and although not my thing personally, a lot of religious music and arias and like choral stuff, and then he'd teach me guitar, and I just thought that was kind of cool that one, he was willing to do that, but also now, even though I didn't understand and sort of hated it then, I try and put all that stuff that he was into my contemporary guitar playing, if that makes sense. So
did he teach you awareness of the classical canon, or was he, or are you talking about harmony and or music theory, or was it both?
Both. So a lot of theory, and I know a lot of players shy away from that, but I became a bit of a nerd from it, and it's helped us out sort of in recent times. If you know theory, then you don't have to spend as much time practicing something, and you get paid more because you can do things last minute. So I'm glad I learned it.
And it must make songwriting quicker, because if you want to express something, you know what to do. You don't have to fumble around like the rest of us on the guitar for half a day trying to work out what it is you want to do.
That's it. It's like the little shortcuts essentially. If you know the sound that you're aiming for, you can pluck it out a little bit faster than if you're just searching around. Which, once again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think I'm maybe just a little bit lazy for doing that, and I just want it now. So I'm glad I learned that side of things. So because I'd never get there, I just go, actually, no, stuff this. I can't be bothered to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Well, the converse of your approach is to either spend a lot of time trying to say what you want to say on an instrument, or you fall into the trap of saying the same thing over and again, don't you? You might change the words, but the tunes are not very inspired and the chords are the same, especially if you're on a guitar where you tend to play in shapes a lot, don't you, and follow regular patterns. So it's quite limiting not having that music, or rather I should say it's liberating having that music background, because there are plenty of people who don't.
Totally liberating for sure.
Yeah. So how would you say that your can you give an example of how your songs have benefited from this sort of theory insight?
Yeah, it's allowed me to listen more to my influences and add that into my music, but then meld it in a certain way that I hope has changed it enough for musical and copyright reasons.
Yeah.
But it's meant that I've been able to stay simple with stuff when I want to, and then add that weird chord in when I want to as well.
Yeah.
I'm not adverse to like a 3-4 chord song. Like, I'm not, no way would I be a snob about things. Most of my favourite songs have that in.
Yeah.
But then you'll get to the middle and there's one chord or one, it doesn't even have to be on the guitar, it can be another instrument that's augmenting the song, and that's what catches my attention. I'm like, I want that.
Yeah.
Whether it's just 3 chords or whatever, that little bit in the middle, like the piano player might be adding something that the artist isn't even thinking about, but the piano player knows.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy with not knowing, I think. So I like to get that into my music.
Yeah, because when you reflect on it, it's amazing that a lot of pop, well, most of the pop and rock is so simple in theory terms, isn't it? It uses, as you say, 3 or maybe 4 or at most 5 chords, but they're all very straightforward chords. They're not like jazz chords with lots of augmented and diminished chords. It's all quite straightforward, isn't it? But it's been so inventive since whenever pop started in the mid-50s, hasn't it? That's a good 70 years or so.
Yeah.
It's astonishing that it survived, isn't it?
I totally agree, and it does get railed on a little bit because of its simplicity sometimes, but then on the flip side, it's pretty, as you say, it's mad how much can be done with that, and I think that's an art, like a sort of sub-art in itself of music. If you can make people feel that much with so little, then why not? Mm-hmm. I love jazz. I love all the tricky stuff, like progressive rock, all that stuff. But there must be a reason why more people gravitate to pop music, whatever that means. and the simplicity of that. I think just because somebody likes a song that doesn't have many words or doesn't have many chords, there's a lot of musicians, I guess, who are like, oh well, that's crap or whatever, but it can't be that crap if the majority of the world like it.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm always intrigued by the simplicity as well, and I wish that I hope that I'm able to write something that's simple and make people feel a certain way one day as well, rather than not feeling the need, but because I do want to add more to my songs, but if I could do a 3-chord wonder and make a mass of people feel something, then that would be great.
It's a mistake to try and over-embellish a song just because you can, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you want to be clever.
Yeah.
That's not the point of the song often.
Not at all, no.
No. So the question that people ask of songwriters is, how do you go about writing a song? What they always say, what comes first? Is it the words? Is it the lyric? Is it an idea? Or is it a combination of all of them? Does it change? What is it for you?
It changes, but it's a very lonely process by choice, I think. In sort of today's world where everything is sort of documented and you've got to do more than just write a song, for instance, like people are always uploading videos like watch me write a song for the day and things like that. The one for me would be the most boring video you ever watch, because whether it's lyrics first or harmony or like guitar parts, whatever, I find it really hard to not have it where it's just me in a room, not coming out until I've finished that part of a song or that song, and I get very quiet in sort of personal life when I'm doing that as well, because I've got my mind on what I'm trying to sort out. Mm-hmm. And although I do love the process of writing, I feel I'm a much nicer person again and can enjoy the world once I've finished writing the song. Uh-huh. The song doesn't have to be negative or sad or anything, but it's so important to us that I need to get it right. Yeah. And I struggle with anything less than totally right.
So is this learning a way to stop hallucination, make sense of the world? But why, when it's burning, I could sit for hours and contemplate. There's a testing room to figure out your traits. But being alone is clinical, to work out how it's all gonna go until the crematory curtain stalls. This is how it is now, but it's just like it was before. How could anyone ever think to know that this was the hate? That this was the hate.
Do you write your songs all in one continuous go, or do you spread the various stages out over a period of time?
I've had a couple of Willie Nelsons where like you write it out in one go.
Yeah.
But normally I try and do. I remember reading something actually. I think it was Matt Groening who makes The Simpsons, mm-hmm. and he was saying that he writes a whole episode, and like there'll be too much, and like some of it could be naff or whatever, and then he comes back to it the next day and reduces.
Yeah. So
I guess I try and write too much, and then bring it back down. Now, people who've heard my songs might argue that I should still reduce them even more because there's still a hell of a lot of words. But I guess I'm reducing it until I'm happy.
Yeah.
Throughout the last decade, sort of went through this this genre shift, I guess. I'm not going to say a lull because that's my personal opinion, but and I don't think that's the case as well. But it was sort of fewer words and more about dancing and having a good time, which has always been a thing, and I think that's great. And now I wonder if we're just at a time where there's so much going on, there's so much good and bad that we constantly hear about all the time, that the songwriters with I'm not going to say normal job because that would defeat what I do, but a usual job, let's say, writing at home or like hit factory songwriters, I just feel like everybody's got a little bit more to say, and they need to say it. To sort of complement that, I think everybody needs to hear it as well. Just needs a bit of solace, or to know, or at least believe that somebody is thinking the same way as them about everything that's going on around, whether close to home, or halfway around the world. I think despite guitar being the thing for me, I'll always believe that words are actually the things that connect the most. Like, I know a handful of people who have a favourite guitar solo, but I think everybody I know has a favourite lyric. So I'd argue that, we just really need words right now, I think, and conversation, and hopefully music doesn't necessarily make up for where that's not happening in other areas, but it can at least be something.
A crystalline veil upon my face that hides, or it's never changed.
You referred there to a sort of change in the genre of music that you were making. I noticed when I was listening to your music last night that on YouTube, where you have 5 or 6 videos, you were sort of singer-songwriter-ish, I thought, with an acoustic guitar mostly, and quite gentle songs. And I was surprised because I know you as an electric guitarist. I thought, oh, this is a bit weird, maybe I've got you wrong. But then I checked out your Spotify page, and reassuringly, there you are with electric guitars. So what was it that prompted that transition?
I was in a series of bands, and I was writing for them, and then writing for other people, but still playing a lot of guitar. And it got to a point where I decided that I just wanted to make some music with my mates. We all play, everybody plays sessions for other people, but we never played with each other. Lived together and everything, but never actually played in a band together. And the only sort of gripe I ever had with writing songs for a band, where I was the guitar player and not the singer, was I wrote the songs with a certain interpretation in mind, and I struggled to accept that other interpretation.
Yeah.
Now that's not anybody else's fault. That's on me. That's
just the artist being creative, isn't it?
Yeah, that's some problem that I have and I need to sort out. That led me to wanting to sing my own stuff, and I realised a few years back when all the gigs stopped and the world shut off. I won't say that word. I realised that I was missing that high of playing, and found that singing my own lyrics, whether with an acoustic guitar or knowing that I was going to be playing with the band, that was giving us the same high at home. And I was like, this is important, because in the past I've played live and then come away from that, like did a tour or something, come back, and then I think all musicians can agree with this, like mental health takes a nosedive because you've just had such a great time, you're with your buds and it's just excellent, and then this just really accentuated it. So I needed something to keep us level, and when that all finished and everything, decided like, well, why stop doing this if it gives me that high, if it makes me feel good, you know.
Yeah.
So that was where the acoustic guitar stuff was born out of, but I did know that I still wanted to make sure I played electric, and whenever we play live, I make sure that's definitely a thing. It's heavier.
Yeah. So when in your evolution as a musician did you start performing live?
I was 12, I think.
Oh, really?
12, 13.
Yeah.
I think the first paid gigs with my mates came in, when we were 13.
Where was that?
It was at the railway in Four Stones.
Really?
Yeah. So I got, my mum gave us a lift, and because I was going to go in and ask about a gig, and I was getting out of the car and I was like, "You're not coming with us?" And she was like, "No, if you want this, you're going to have to get it yourself." So I went in, we had a chat, and they went, how much you asking for? And I sort of panicked and went, 120 quid. And she went, each? And at the time I thought that was like a worry. I thought she was on each, really. But what she was asking was 120 per person.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh no, just 120 overall. But as 13-year-olds getting £30 each for a Friday night, doing what you would do anyways, was pretty class.
A lot of people these days would be grateful to get 120 quid for a gig.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Same here. Yeah, still.
That's amazing. And how did your career progress from Four Stones?
Carried on, just playing a lot of pubs with my mates in sort of a covers / originals thing that a lot of people do. Had a great time, and then all I ever wanted to do was continue to play music, so I ended up leaving to go to uni, and then from there started doing session work, and I don't think I've ever used my CV because it was all just word of mouth, and that led us to do some pretty fun stuff.
And where did you pick up sessions?
Started in London, and it was odd because I met more people from up here down there than I ever did up here, which I think has now changed. There's been a bit of a shift again. I don't know whether that's correct, but it's definitely the way it feels.
Uh-huh.
But there were a lot of Geordies in London, so everybody started to help each other out, and it was quite easy to be accepted.
Right. Well, my first reaction to hearing that is to think it must be really competitive in London. especially for session work?
No, it is competitive,
Yeah.
and it's not nice, which I think is why I'm not there anymore.
Uh-huh.
And I speak to a lot of people who have lived there and have come back up, all with the same story, of that it's so expensive to live there that you've got to be grafting all the time. But also, but between the session work, you've also got to sort of show face and go to the jam nights and things like that, which, don't get us wrong, are incredibly fun. The players are incredible. But there's definitely this ethos, this stigma of, if you don't go, then you don't care enough.
Mm-hmm.
When actually, you maybe just want a Tuesday off,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it meant that it was very competitive, and I think you've got to have a certain mindset to do that long term.
Yeah.
It's challenging, it's rewarding, but to sort of keep it real with the price of living in London, like the reward goes quickly.
Yeah.
And it's great meeting people and meeting names and things like that, and it's awesome who I have in my phone. Like, I love that.
Now you said you got some music for us. Which piece have you chosen and why?
So I've chosen a tune called Head because it's probably short enough. All the others are really long. But no, it's at the time of recording, it's my latest single. There might be something else out by then, by the time this is out. But yeah, Head's the latest single. I think it's a great example of how we've kept things